Hello, Dave's Orchid Oasis family. Today we are going to look at each kind of genera of orchid, the main ones, and talk about the pros and cons. I'm going to talk about the good stuff and the bad stuff, so get ready to learn. Okay, let's start with the good old-fashioned Cattleya. This is a gorgeous one. Right now I'm really into ones that have very waxy petals because they last a very long time. So the pros, they're probably the most famous and popular of all orchids. There's so many different kinds and hybrids, and this was really what started it all. Like when you're younger and you got a corsage for prom, it was a Cattleya. So I guess the pro is just they're beautiful, and then there's a million different kinds, and a lot of them smell good. And I mean, most people would say or argue that they are the prettiest of all orchids. And I would agree, generally speaking. It's hard to find something prettier. Negative things, I think they're kind of hard to grow, honestly. Maybe some of you disagree. They're prone to a lot of different diseases, especially black rot in my area, which is some sort of pathogen rot. Then like things turn black, the leaf turns black, and then like 2 weeks later, the whole thing's black, and then it's dead. And then it spreads to other orchids. It's a mess. Wait, I forgot one thing. Very important thing. The roots of Cattleya are very finicky. And what I mean by that is if you water them too much, it's very easy to get all kinds of diseases. You can kill the Cattleya very quickly if you have it in some sort of mulch like bark or moss or anything like that. If it gets too much water, it is going to rot and die on you. So that really makes them tricky. From a watering, I forgot that one. It's probably the worst thing about Cattleya. Watering is very tricky. If you have them mounted, like most of mine are, I think it's easier because they almost always dry right away, which is what they want because that's what it's like in nature. But if you have them in a pot, you gotta be careful, especially with some sort of organic media. My suggestion would be do not use organic media. Use some sort of rock or charcoal or something that's not going to break down, and water it a little more often. But it's tricky, like depending on the time of year and the temperature, and it's really, you kind of have to get a feel for how often you water it. Most people, I would say, water too much. I water too much, way too much. So always err on the side of dry. I mean, they can be super, super dry for a super long time compared to other orchids. So I would say that's probably the biggest con of Cattleya. It's extremely annoying. Ah yes, the Oncidium. The Oncidium, let's think. What are the pros of the Oncidium? The blooms last a very, very long time. There's lots of blooms. At first I wasn't that into them. I like them more and more. Long-lasting blooms, lots of flowers when they do bloom. What is another good thing about Oncidium? That's pretty bad. Beyond that, I can't think of anything. Okay, well then let's talk about the bad things. I find them to be difficult to grow, again, I'm getting better at them, but they seem to get diseases and fungi very, very easily, in my opinion. They like to stay wet, which I guess isn't a negative, or I shouldn't say wet, moist, more moist than most orchids. They're finicky about light. They don't like tons of light like a Cattleya or Vanda. You got to keep them a little more shady, low light. So that makes them a little bit annoying. I find they don't bloom all that often. Sounds like I don't really like these. I like all orchids, obviously, but I would say Oncidium might be one of my least favorites. I love it, but it's my least favorite of things that I love. I'm sorry, Mr. Oncidium. It's okay, I still love you. Up next, we have the hard cane Dendrobium. This is probably the nicest one I've ever made, ever grew. It's a first place. This is a first place winner from last year. But this one in particular has very, very pretty flowers. is my favorite hard cane Dendrobium. So this this is top 3, definitely. It's called there's a million different kinds of Dendrobium, like maybe, I don't know, thousands. There's more kinds of Dendrobium than any other, but this one's very, very common. It's common because exceptionally easy to grow. They grow like weeds. As long as it's very hot and very humid, I mean, it's hard to kill one of these things, and they just grow and grow. I would say they're the easiest of any orchid I've ever seen. Again, though, you have to be like in Florida or someplace tropical where it's really, really hot all the time. If not, they're not going to be happy at all. I mean, they're great orchids. They're pretty. The flowers last forever. There's tons of them. I mean, these flowers will last months and months. There's lots of flowers. The whole plant grows very quickly. I think the leaves are cool looking. I don't know. I don't know much. It's a great flower. Okay, so negatives. They're very cold sensitive, which is annoying. So this is a Phalaenopsis Dendrobium. That's what this one is called. There's different kinds of hard cane Dendrobium. Let's not get too complicated here, but so you got to take them in a little bit sooner than some of the other kinds of orchids in winter, which is annoying. And all right, Mr. Dendrobium, what else is wrong with you? I mean, sometimes they get so big that they start to, like, it's hard to keep them in a pot. Like this pot is a pot in a pot, and there's all kinds of rocks in the pot because otherwise they'll tip over. It's not really a negative thing because that means it's growing really well. Here's another one, nice and white. I thought of another thing I don't like. They're very prone to botrytis, which is a fungus that are these tiny little specks on the flowers. I don't think there's any way you're gonna be able to see this. You're not gonna be able to see it, but it's very common. It's almost impossible to, quite frankly, to keep the botrytis off of these things. You have to spray like a very, very weak fungicide on the flowers. It's just a lot of work, a lot to remember. So I guess that's one other negative thing. Pretty. Look at all these flowers. These flowers will be around for months. Next up, we're going to talk about Encyclia. Now, Encyclia, believe it right now, I said this in a previous video, are my favorite kinds of orchids for lots of reasons. First of all, they grow truly like a weed. I think their natural habitat is almost exactly like where I live because they're almost impossible to kill, and they grow like crazy. The blooms last forever. They might be the easiest things. Well, I said that about the other one too. But look at the super long stem. The flowers last a very long time. They smell magnificent. It is enchanting. The smell is enchanting. So those are all the positives. Very easy to grow, hard to kill, cold tolerant, smell great, long lasting flowers. I don't know. I mean, seriously, what would a negative be? I really don't know that there's a negative. They're very resistant to diseases and pests. I would go out, as long as you're in a relatively warm area, and get yourself an Encyclia. Encyclia. There's lots of different kinds and hybrids, but they're definitely harder to find than the other stuff, Cattleya and all that kind of stuff. But if you really look, and if you ask at like a legitimate orchid greenhouse, you will find an Encyclia, and you'll be happy, and you will say, Dave, thank you for changing my orchid life. This is a Brassavola. They might be in the Cattleya species. I don't even know. They kind of have a Cattleya vibe to them. See, the roots are climbing all over the pot. That is really cool. Real orchid people will understand that this is as cool as the flower. All these roots wrapping around them. But this is very easy to grow. I don't find the flowers that exciting, but it's very easy to grow. I'm not a big fan of them, honestly. It's just a white flower that is not that exciting. It lasts very long. I don't have too many of these, unless you get a hybrid where They take this, combine it with a Cattleya, and then it's prettier and it is hardy and easy, just like a Brassavola. In fact, let me get you one. Okay, so look at this guy, right? It's kind of the same shape as that little white one, but it's big flowers. This has been combined with a Cattleya, so it has some color and it's bigger. I guess it's called a Brassavola. So this is, I like this one more. Let's look at the Grammatophyllum. Grammatophyllum, some people call them Grammies because this has a hard, weird, long name. They have magnificent long spikes. The flowers last a long time. Very unique, very different. I've actually seen this recently as a bag baby at like Lowe's and Home Depot, which is unbelievable for something so rare and interesting. So yeah, I mean, those are the pros. Now the cons. This, I swear, is the hardest thing to grow. I shouldn't say that. Just about maybe some of you disagree, but I kill like literally half of these. I have killed more of these than any other kind of orchid. If you water them too much at the wrong time, they rot. And I'm not exaggerating when I say if they're outside in the winter and it's 48 degrees, for one night, all the leaves will turn black and die. I find it to be the most cold sensitive of any orchid ever. So you gotta be super careful about how cold it gets, about how much water it gets. I have a hard time getting it to spike and bloom. And so all of you Orchid Oasis family watching this right now, give me some comments on how you keep these things alive. I really would like to know because they have mystified me. Next up, we have the Schomburgkia. It's not called a Schomburgkia anymore. It's now called something that starts with an M. I can't pronounce it though, so I'm gonna call it a Schomburgkia. Science people keep changing the names of these orchids because they're doing science testing and the genetics are not what they're expecting and all this stuff. So this is wild. All right, so we're gonna walk backwards here. Where's the flower? Where is it? There it is. Look at this thing. Look at it. It has like the longest, and look how pretty it is. What? Slow down there, buddy. Look how pretty that is. This is one of my favorite looking orchids. I adore it. They're hard to find. Very hard to find. But pros is they're easy to grow, I think. Suddenly they start growing this huge spike and the flowers last a very long time. And I mean, you need, I guess a negative would be the plants grow really big and you need a big mount and they take up a lot of room. I mean, that's not that big of a con. I mean, they grow kind of like Cattleya. You can't water them too much. There's not many negatives to this thing. I love it. So it's a Schomburgkia. The abbreviation for what they call it now is MYC, I believe. But again, I can't pronounce it, so sorry. This is a cat. This cat is not an orchid. It's not a kind of orchid, but it is a cat. It's my new kitten. I love him so much. We found him under a car. His name is Stinky. So Stinky, we found under our car, this little sad, emaciated, starving, thirsty, tiny kitten, probably about 5 weeks. And he has a great personality. And now Stinky is a part of the Orchid Oasis family. Next up, we have the Bulbophyllum. The Bulbophyllum is very unique. There's lots of different kinds of Bulbophyllum. The positives are, it has very unique flowers, like totally unique, nothing like any other orchid at all. Some of them smell terrible. That's the only positive, because the negative is I've never actually got one to flower. Maybe I'm just missing something. I have several of them. Most of them have died. None of them have flowered. You have to keep them moist. It has to be the right amount of sunlight. These suckers are hard to grow. So if anyone has any tips for me, stick it in the comments. But Bulbophyllum, sorry buddy, you are my least favorite orchid. I haven't figured you out yet until Until I do, you are going to be the red-headed stepchild of my collection. And of course, last but not least, is a good old Vanda. I love Vandas, partly because they grow really well where I live. They bloom a lot. The flowers are gorgeous. There's a billion different kinds. Flowers last a long time. Just a very unique orchid, right? There's no media. The roots just hang in the air and take moisture from the air. And, you know, obviously in nature, it lives in places that have a lot of moisture and rain, so it can soak up the rain in its roots. But Vandas are just a very cool orchid. I mean, I guess the negatives are you do have to live in a very specific climate to grow these things. You can't grow one of these things inside. Like, I'm sorry, you just can't. It has to be super humid. It's just, I've never seen one do it successfully. You have to water it almost every day, which is a total pain. But since I'm like orchid crazy person, I don't mind. But you have to water it every day. It likes a lot of fertilizer. They're just kind of high maintenance. But if you do everything right, man, I mean, they're spectacular. They're cold sensitive, which is also a pain. So the negatives are that there's a lot of cultural requirements, but the positive is the reward is well worth it. Let's go find a couple more. There's just so many different kinds. Look at this one. This is called long orangey flower orchid. Could have been a little more creative with that. Like, this one's different, you know, the flowers are a different shape, the leaves are different. It's just a different looking kind of Vanda, but also very interesting pattern, color. Let's go get some more. Another very, very interesting, just white and yellow and speckled. This one is interesting. Look at the size of this. Because there's a bloom on this thing, I'm not exaggerating, 9 or 10 months out of the year. It blooms non-stop. And it's big and weird and cool. So this one is also pretty. But that's not why I'm showing it to you. It has a powerful scent. I mean, it's one of the strongest smelling of any kind of flower I have ever smelled. It's almost, I mean, it is powerful. Wait, smell that. Smell it. Can you, what's that smell like to you? I find it to smell a little like grapey, like grape. Here, smell that. Does it smell like grape? A little bit? So that's my last Vanda. That's all of the orchids today, the pros and the cons. I'm sure you learned something. I'm so excited that I'm starting to do videos again at my new orchid oasis now that I live in my 5 acres of beauty. I can't buy any more orchids right now, which is killing me. I don't have another square inch. What do I do? I don't know what to do. I can't buy any more orchids. It's like a drug addict being like in rehab and the drug being taken away. And it's terrible. It is a terrible, terrible experience. Now I am getting an extension to my lanai, which is gonna be big. And as soon as that's done, it's like game on. Like, you're gonna see, it's gonna be more orchids than you've ever seen in your life. But that's gonna be about 4 months from now. 4 months. I don't know what I'm gonna do. If you have any ideas how to survive the next 4 months, please let me know. But until we talk again, be blessed.